So that was a nice introduction, thank you. So what I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about LatentView Analytics and what we do so that we understand the magnitude of what we need to achieve yet, because I'm going to share with you only examples that we are currently working with. We did have Vincent speak about AWS and what it's been doing. We are an advanced consulting partner with Amazon Web Services. So I'm going to start off by giving you the nitty-gritties of what's happening in the analytics space, what are we actually doing. Before that, I just want to share a little bit about our company. You can see that we started the firm in 2006. It's been slightly over 10 years since the firm started. We work with multiple Fortune 500 companies across the globe, and we have over 500 employees at this point in time. We've been identified as the leading analytics player in 2015 by Frost & Sullivan. We have won a lot of accolades. The thing that we are very, very proud of is the fact that we continue to work with the best and the brightest across the globe, and we've been catering to their analytics needs on a regular basis. So we provide analytics services to the top companies. There are a few companies that are mentioned out here, so we work closely with them, and as I said, we are an advanced consulting partner with AWS. I'm going to just share a few data points with you quickly so that you also get to see this. Consumer today is connecting with a lot of data from multiple angles. So this is just an illustration of what's the kind of data that's coming in. What we do as a core proposition is work with advanced companies and helping them make sense out of this data. So the three key things that they do, which I really appreciate, is a 360-degree view of consumer. That's something that everybody is looking at. They want to look at real-time data so that they can make well-informed decisions. And for most parts, these companies are competing in the digital marketplace with everybody else. So they are really fighting it hard. What's changed and what remains constant? What remains constant is companies are still looking for market share, return on investment, what's going on with revenues. So nothing has changed on that front. It's all the same. You need to grow your business. You need to keep your employees happy. But what has changed is the volume of information that's flowing in, right? So if you're a grocery store right next to the New York subway station, nothing has changed for you except that New York subway station has opened its API so that you can look at the number of people entering that station and leaving it clearly on the web, right? So you have that information. So if your neighbor, the store next to you, is using that information to make better decisions, when the weather is hot, if they are stocking up more soft drinks, cold drinks, that's going to impact your business. So the information flow has changed dramatically. In the past, companies were looking at only traditional, conventional data sources. Now we see unconventional data sources coming in. Online surveys, social media, people are putting devices, or they're capturing all information about everything. Your car is probably having information about how you're driving. All this information is coming in. And so in order to gain superior consumer insights and in order to win in the marketplace, companies need to combine the two to make decisions. So I'm going to start with one example. This is a leading media and entertainment company, and they've been in business for over 30 odd years. So from my perspective, they know enough about the business. What are we going to help them with, right? They need to predict their first week album sales. So you're launching a new music album. If you get your predictions right, you know how much marketing budgets to put behind it. You know exactly what kind of events you need to organize around it so that you're able to optimize your marketing. But if you get your predictions wrong, you can blow up millions of dollars on an album that doesn't take off at all. And, or you might not spend on something that could be very interesting for you. And this is a problem that they've been having for a long period of time. But now what's changed is you have information available through social media. So earlier, the forecasting models had accuracies of about 60%. What we found was if there's a new artist, especially a new artist, if you look at the number of hits on the Wikipedia page of the new artist, that was a very good predictor of whether that album is going to take off or not, right? And we look at hundreds of variables. So when we start the analysis, we don't know which variable is going to make the big hit. But in this case, that was a key driving variable. And there were also other things like sharing it with friends and so on that gave us an idea of how to forecast better. We were able to move the forecast accuracy to 90%. And that's a big jump. So once you can predict to 90%, then you can make a big impact on your profits as you manage it better. This is one example. As I said, what I'm going to do is run you through 2 or 3 examples and come back to the real problem at hand. The second one here is a Fortune 500 networking company. They get 5,000 complaints per month. 5,000 complaints per month. About 3 to 5 of these complaints turn into serious problems. They turn critical. When it turns critical, they're going to spend anywhere between $500,000 to $2 million to retain that customer. And it's non-trivial because people go berserk when they're unhappy and then they want to shift. And then for them to win that client back, it takes $500,000 to $2 million to get that back. So, and they wanted us to help them with modeling. Can you identify who these, which 4 or 5 of these 5,000 complaints are going to turn critical, right? And we incorporated the behavior element into it. This is a very smart company. They have all the forecasting models from the past. We started looking at qualitative data. We started looking at the emails, machine logs, all the information that was available, right? We started looking at if someone's starting off with an email personally to me, but then within 5 minutes, it gets CC'd to 10 other people. It gets CC'd to 50 other people. That was a trigger point. Somebody's very unhappy. They're copying a lot of people. They're using caps in their subject. So simple things, behavioral things that gave us clues into what's actually going on behind this complaint. And that helped us really crack the code on getting the accuracy to 95% to say, here are the 4 or 5 people who are really going to turn into critical requests. And the company saves a lot of money because they're able to identify it early. It's an early warning system, and they're able to address it even before it becomes a problem. Another example is a Fortune 500 CPG firm, or as we call it, FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods. They need to be launching products on a regular basis. And as they launch products, they have a traditional system that was set up probably in the 1950s. You have consumer research and focus groups coming up with some needs, and then you come up with some value proposition, create the product, test out the value proposition, so qualitative and quantitative. And this whole thing takes a long time. And for most parts, what you see is by the time you go through this whole process and launch a product, which makes it much more effective, you're eliminating a lot of bad ideas, but somebody else has launched it already, right? So in this case, we use social media data to look at millions of conversations, narrowed it down to 400,000 relevant conversations, and use that for coming up with insights in saying, here are the 15 potential ingredients that you could use to launch, and also help them narrow down the 1 or 2. We could also help them with saying if they intended to launch A, B, and C in that order, we could help them to narrow it down to say, launch B first, because that's what the consumer is really excited about today. And so go ahead and launch it. So this provides us with provides the company with a huge first mover advantage, even though there are nimble players in the field, right? So here, these are 3 examples. I'm going to talk about IoT for a second so that you get a flavor of that. But in these 3 examples, the question I'm going to come back to is, I didn't learn these things in college, so I'm not sure if anyone's teaching these things right now. But this is what we're doing today with our customers, and this is what we've done with them. So these are things that our employees should know, and they should be able to be, and they should be really good at dealing with some of these things. I'm going to touch on connected devices in the personal health space. This is something which is very close to me because I was the CEO for Philips Direct Life in Netherlands before I relocated back to India. And this is going to revolutionize how we look at activity, health, because instead of treating patients, you're going to move earlier in the healthcare continuum and help prevent diseases. And that's going to come through monitoring of all sorts of information from your activity, from your metrics, your diet, and everything. And this is something that's happening at real time. It's happening at a rapid pace across the industry. And this requires extreme analytics for you to even understand what's going on. And the other area where analytics is going to be really, really important is earlier, traditional companies used to provide one television advertising, let's say a 30-seconder, to address this entire target group. Right now, I know so much about each one of you. If I look at your digital footprint, I can actually customize my message to different segments in a different way, and I can also go into extreme personalization so that each one of you gets a single message from me, right? So that technology is available. So here are some of the examples of where we are using analytics, and then I'll come back to the topic which is given to me, which is how can we accelerate India's transformation, right? So I'm going to take a step back and say, we are a small company. We have less than 1,000 employees at this point in time, and we hope to recruit more from all your institutions in the years to come. This is how we deal with it. We need to have, for us to do digital transformation for our clients, we need to have adequate data, we need to have the right skills, and we need to have the culture of research and innovation. So this is extremely important for us as an organization to deal with it. And if I look at India at large, just the amount of data that's coming out from the internet, mobile, and payments is exploding. I don't think we have a problem with that. We're going to have a very, very strong digital footprint available to us. If I look at the right skill sets, we saw the demographics come up. We have the right people, and I'm sure that there's a lot of inputs that you're providing at the educational institutions which allow people to learn their maths and statistics skills, computer programming skills, and also communication and storytelling skills. This is what we do within our company. What we do is we hire about strong people from campuses. We have multiple rounds of interviews. But once they come on board, we have, at least for 1 month, they're in a classroom where they're retrained on analytics, specifics of analytics. And depending on the client that they're going to go to, they have additional training on that particular client. And we have institutionalized a program called LEAP, which will make sure that based on your current level, where you are, it allows you to say, and you want to establish where you want to go, it'll tell you here are the programs that you could take. And these are programs, sometimes they are freely available from online universities, and some of these programs you can actually sign up for paying some money, and so we reimburse our employees on that. So we have put together a very strong skill set development program within the organization. And we also map the planned career. Some of them show extreme interest in cloud and web services, then we move them to that area. If they show extreme interest in machine learning and data analytics, then we move them to specialist data track. And some of them are really good with client management, understanding the client's problems. Then we move them to the client track. So those are the things that we're doing at that level. From an innovation perspective, which I think is the most important part, because when we get a problem from a client, most likely this is the first time that problem is being addressed. Nobody's solved this before. This is the first time it's ever going to be solved. And our clients are the best and the brightest. They are unable to solve it, and they're giving the problem to us. We need to foster a culture of innovation. And this is extremely critical, right? It's not about, I worked on 10 problems before, here's the 11th problem and I can solve it. We are going to get a problem that's never been solved before. You worked on 10 problems, that doesn't mean you know how to address this, right? So it is really, really important that our people can start from zero-based thinking. Use all their knowledge and in a creative, innovative way, come up with new solutions. And for this, we try to do things at a team level, at an organization level, as well as at an industry level, right? At a team level, we try to keep it, we rotate people, we make sure that they get to interact with the clients on a regular basis so that they understand the client's issues and problems. At the industry organization level, we have set up something called an idea labs. So anyone can come up with their ideas, go into the idea lab, and we have a really bright set of folks who will go through those ideas and see if that can be commercialized. And the Idea Labs also comes up with some of the breakthrough artificial intelligence projects that are created out of the Idea Labs. In addition to that, we've also tied up with Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, so to sit down and see how can we collaborate together on solving problems that have never been solved before. Can we have the PhDs work with us? Can we have people collaborate with us to solve these problems? So these are the three things that we have done as a small organization, right? And we've also designed the curriculum for one of the analytics programs that was recently launched by IIM Calcutta, IIT Kharagpur, and Indian Statistical Institute. We designed the program for them, and we also take courses in that program on a regular basis. So these are the things that we do at a small level for a startup. The real question for us is, if we want to transform India, right, the digital story that we've been hearing, and also if I look at the smart city projects that we are embarking on, we have a real task at hand. We have a real task at hand. And it's simple, very simple. It's about having the right data, the right skill sets, and creating and fostering the environment of innovation so that our people can boldly take up challenges that nobody's taking up, right? It's a pleasure to see Ola Cabs come up with ideas that nobody else in the world is coming think of it, right? So those are the things that we need to do. That's a big challenge for us. I thought from a small company perspective, we'll at least share with you how we are trying to address it in a small micro environment. But the challenge is very strong, and we'd like to participate in it. We'd like to collaborate with both the government as well as the educational institutes to see how we can contribute to this process and how we can really affect this transformation. Thank you very much.
Your knowledge should destroy ignorance. But if knowledge is not destroying ignorance, and if knowledge is protecting ignorance, that is not knowledge.
3% of India is Tamil. You know that? I mean, I did the research. 3% of India is Indian population, and 3% of that 3% is Tamil Brahmin. And so they are like, they consider themselves very, very pure. They think like they're like pure ghee, like they are.
நம்ம எந்த ப்ராபபிலிட்டியில் ஒரு காலேஜை மார்க்கெட் பண்ணுறோன்னா, ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து பயங்கர ஸ்ட்ரிக்டாக வச்சுக்கிட்டு அவங்களுக்கு பிடிக்காத நிறைய விஷயங்கள் பண்ணிவிட்டு, வேறஸ் வெளியில் போகும்போது நான் லேப்டாப் தரேன், நான் வந்து மார்க்கெட்டிங் பண்ணுறேன், காலேஜுக்கு பிராண்டிங் பண்ணுறேன் அப்படின்னா, எங்கேருந்து பிராண்டிங் வரும்? படிக்கிற 2000 பேரும் ஸ்கூலில் வெளியில் போயிட்டு தப்பாக பேசினாங்கன்னா